In prisons, inmates are relied upon to complete institution functions. Correctional officers' job performance relies heavily on the cooperation from the inmates. Because of this, some officers may overlook violations to gain compliance in other areas. Officers work closely with inmates, which causes them to form personal bonds. These bonds can lead to romantic relationships, favoritism, and selective rule enforcement. Boundary violations in prisons are not uncommon. Women correctional officers has risen since the 1970s. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, women employees commit majority of the staff sexual misconduct. In the media with Vicky White and Casey White, a highly publicized case involving an inappropriate relationship between a correctional officer and an inmate. Vicky White was an Alabama jail correctional supervisor who assisted Casey White, who was a repeat series offender, escape from jail. The officer and inmate has no relation but began an inappropriate relationship, which led to the escape. On April 30th, 2022, the officer went missing while escorting Casey White. It took authorities 11 days to locate the two, which led to Vicky White committing suicide as authorities were approaching. Casey White was charged with felony murder due to Vicky White's death occurring while he escaped from jail. The inmate entered a plea and pled guilty to his escape. During his trial, Casey informed the court that they were in love and that were going to start a new life together. Casey White is currently serving a 75-year sentence for multiple charges from 2015. Prison staff are trained and expected to be firm and reasonable. There are anti-fraternization policies which prohibits correctional employees from engaging in relationships, romantic, financial, or otherwise, with current or former inmates and their families. There's also the Correctional Officer Code of Conduct, which encourages staff to maintain professional relationships with colleagues, refrain from entering into any formal or informal activity or agreement that will present a conflict of interest, refrain from accepting gifts, services, or favors that appear to be improper, and from using their position for personal gain, etc. There are physical boundaries, structural boundaries, and impersonal boundaries created between the employee and inmates to create a safe and peaceful environment. The public's perception of correctional officer actions in committing illegal and unethical offenses can vary depending on the specific circumstances and the individual's prior beliefs and attitudes. Some members of the public may view such actions as a betrayal of trust and a violation of the officer's duty to uphold the law, leading to a loss of confidence in the entire correctional system. Others may be more understanding, recognizing that correctional officers face challenges that can sometimes lead to poor judgment or misconduct. In the end, public perception will likely be influenced by factors such as media coverage and personal experiences. Leadership who are responsible for correctional staff committing illegal acts should be held accountable and face appropriate consequences. It is important to conduct a thorough investigation to determine the extent of their involvement and whether they failed in their duty to prevent or address these actions. Depending on the findings, disciplinary measures such as suspension, demotion, or even termination may be necessary to ensure justice and maintain public trust in the prison system. A policy of recommendation to reduce inappropriate relationships in correctional officers could include implementing strict guidelines and protocols regarding personal interactions between officers and inmates. This could involve regular training sessions to educate officers on the potential risks and consequences of engaging in inappropriate relationships, as well as providing them with alternative strategies for maintaining professional boundaries. Also, establishing a confidential reporting system for both officers and inmates to report any suspected or observed inappropriate behavior can help ensure accountability and discourage such relationships from forming.